When it comes to the origin of our existence, public schools today teach the theory of evolution as fact. But how much faith does it take to believe in evolution, or creation for that matter? In this series, we're going to search for actual evidence for evolution and creation to see which one takes more faith to believe and which one is more like fantasy. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the idea of probability and how to play the numbers to strengthen your faith. And as we do, I want to challenge you to not be afraid to follow where truth leads you. As you do, the truth will set you free. Let's dive in.
So when it comes to real life probability, when the odds are very close to zero, we're not willing to bet anything on it. You know, maybe when it was just like 1 to 6, she's willing to bet $10 on it. But when you just get to like 1 out of 54, we're like not willing to put a little bit of money on it. 1 out of 900 seems like, oh, it's really, really big, but for $100, that's really, really big. But 1 out of 900, we're not willing to put money on it. And so, but why is it that so many people are willing to wager our eternity without even considering those same kind of odds? Because when we look at evolution versus creation, or God versus no God at all, the facts that reduce that probability, the probability that one is true and one is not true is huge. And we don't even consider it when our eternity is in the balance. I want to tell you a little story about a coach or a general manager of the Oakland A's, the baseball team. His name was Billy Beane, and he was it was his real name, Billy Beane. And he was the general manager for the Oakland A's in 2002. And the year before he started on that team, the A's had 65 wins. It takes about 89 wins to get to the playoffs. If you get to the playoffs and you can make it through, you can have a shot at the World Series. They had 65 wins the year before he started. The year that he started, in 1998, they got 74 wins. No playoffs for them. The next year, in 1999, they had 87 wins. No playoffs for them. They're playing baseball the same way the baseball's been played for years, and they didn't make it. In 2000, they had 91 wins. They went to the playoffs, and they got beat in the first round by the Yankees, okay? They didn't get a chance to win the World Series. In 2001, playing baseball the way it's always been played, they had 102 wins, and they went and they lost again to the Yankees in the first round. And then, that year, in 2001, they lost their top 3 players. I forget what their names were. But they were like the highest paid guys and the 3 best players, the guys that carried them to go from like 74 wins to 87 wins to 89 wins to 90-something wins to get to that place where they're in the playoffs, and all 3 of those guys left and went to other teams. So now they had no stars, and they had a very, very small budget. So Billy Beane, it has changed the way that they played baseball. They played what's called an evidence-based statistical game of baseball called Moneyball. And they made a movie about it. So they looked at statistics. It was all based on how well they could hit the ball and how well they could get on base. It had nothing to do with how flashy they were, how early in the draft they were drafted, how good-looking they were, or how much their baseball card was worth. It was all about if they could get on base and if they could hit the ball. And the year that they did that, with a $40 million payroll, okay, they had $40 million on their payroll, and they won 103 games. They went to the playoffs. They won the same amount of games, 103, that the New York Yankees won with a $126 million payroll. All because they played the numbers. It was all a game of probabilities. Had nothing to do with like the feel of the game or the way that people liked the players. It was all about playing their numbers. And with the 1/3 of the budget that the Yankees had, They got as many wins, and they went to the playoffs with a third of the budget. So when it comes to the origin of our existence, the public schools in our nation teach the theory of evolution as fact. And when you think and talk about those ideas, it kind of seems like maybe evolution is kind of possible, right? Especially since we can observe levels of adaptation and small microevolution in our world. We can see similar things, so we think, okay, well, the school is teaching it, so maybe it's fact. But how much faith does it take to believe that evolution is true? Because I believe we're going to learn through this next series that if you search for actual evidence for evolution and creation, one of them takes an incredible amount of faith to believe, and one of them not really that much faith at all. One of them, I believe, takes just a little bit of faith, and then one of them, I believe, is absolute fantasy. Tonight, I want to talk to you about discovering what truth is. And I want to talk to you about considering the probability of what you discover and whether you think it's true or not, so that you can decide for yourself, based on real evidence, where you place your faith and what you believe will happen to you in eternity. That you will be willing to wager your eternity based on evidence and truth and things that you can really, really learn rather than just kind of not even really considering it. I want to challenge you and encourage you to reduce the risk of being wrong by searching for truth to fill in the blanks that we're missing. And I believe that truth will always lead us to God. As you discover truth, it will always lead you to the Lord. Okay, so here's something that you can put on your notes. I want to challenge you. Don't be afraid to discover truth, because it'll always lead you to God and not away from Him. As you discover truth, it will help you to reduce your own point of view, the way that you see life, or it's called your subjectivity. That's like subject to how you see the world. When you discover all of these truths, you'll be able to strengthen your faith, and you will know God more. So I want to challenge you to search for truth. And that's why I always tell you, don't take my word for it, what God says. Read the Bible for yourself. Look for truth. Look for facts. And that will strengthen your faith. We're going to look at a passage of Scripture here in just a second. This is a passage when Jesus' followers needed to discover truth to fill in the blanks that they weren't understanding. Jesus was teaching them about heaven, about eternal life, about the kingdom of God. And they didn't quite understand because they never really looked at the world that way. They never really looked at eternity that way. They didn't understand what He was talking about. And as they put their trust in Him, He showed them those truths, and it helped them to fill in the blank. John chapter 8, verses 12 through 36. Jesus spoke to them again. I am the light of the world. Anyone who follows me will never walk in the darkness, but will have the light of life. So the Pharisees, they were the religious leaders of the day. They said to Him, you're testifying about yourself, and your testimony is not valid. And Jesus said, even if I testify about myself, my testimony is true because I know where I came from, and I know where I'm going. But you don't know where I came from, and you don't know where I'm going. You judge by human standards. I judge no one. And if I do judge, my judgment is true, because it is not I alone who judge, but I and the Father who sent me. Verse 17. Even in your law it's written that the testimony of two witnesses is true. I am the one who testifies about myself, and the Father, He's the second, who sent me, testifies about me as well. And they asked Him, where's your Father? They're looking around and see, we don't see anybody else here. Where's your Father? And Jesus said, you know neither me nor my Father, or you know neither me nor my Father, Jesus answered. If you knew me, you would also know my Father. And He spoke these words by the treasury while He was teaching in the temple, but no one seized Him because His hour had not yet come. Verse 21. Then He said to them again, I'm going away, and you will look for me. you will die in your sin. Where I'm going, you cannot come. So the Jews said again, he won't kill himself, will he? Since he says, where I'm going, you cannot come. You are from below. So that's a pretty harsh statement there. He told them, I am from above. You are of this world. I am not of this world. Therefore, I told you that you will die in your sins. For if you do not believe that I am he, I'm the Messiah, you will die in your sins. And then they said to him, who are you? Exactly what I've been telling you from the very beginning, Jesus told them. I have many things to say and to judge about you, but the one who sent me is true, and what I have heard from him, these things I tell the world. They didn't know what he was speaking to them about the Father, so Jesus said to them, when you lift up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am he, and that I do nothing on my own. But just as the Father taught me, I say these things. The one who sent me is with me. He has not left me alone, because I always do what pleases him. As he was saying these things, many believed in him. There were a lot of people watching on. They're sitting there saying, I think I believe this guy. Then Jesus said to the Jews who had believed him, he turned to these other guys that believed him. He said, if you continue in my word, you really are my disciples. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. We are descendants of Abraham, they answered him, and we have never been enslaved to anybody. How can you say that we'll become free? Jesus responded, truly I tell you, everyone who commits a sin is a slave of sin. A slave does not remain in the household forever, but a son does remain forever. So if the Son sets you free, you really will be free. We're going to stop right there. There's a few things that I want to point out here. And this doesn't sound like it has to do a lot with creation versus evolution. Now, we're going to get to that. Tonight, I really want to talk about the probability of things and discovering truth when we don't know the answers. Because I want to ask you a quick question. How many of you were here when the world was created? None of us were here. So it's going to take a matter of faith and discovery and looking for truth because we weren't there for any of this. So if we just look at things from our own personal perspective, we might not quite get it right. Jesus was speaking truth, and from their perspective, they couldn't see how that could be. They couldn't quite understand it, okay? And so, but while he was teaching, there were many people who believed in him. Many people who put their step of faith in Jesus. And I want to share with you this real quick. Here, you can write this one down. When we don't understand, our minds fill in the blanks. And so I want to challenge you to look for truth. Because a lot of times we might not quite understand exactly how things all came to be. So we might like to fill in the blanks with things that sound nice or that just kind of look one way to us, okay? So I'm going to throw a couple of pictures up here on the screen. Because I want you to see what this looks like at very first glance if you can tell exactly what this is. What's that look like? With a yard. And that looks like a nicely mowed yard, but actually it's a moat. That's a big pond in there. This thing is, yeah, right? That's a big pond. That's all algae-filled pond. Now when you know the truth, you're like, oh, I can kind of see it. But your mind fills in the blanks with what it wants to see. Let's look at another one here. What's that look like? It's like the dog is like sucking her face off. It's like, wait a minute, how is it? But it's actually the dog's tongue, exactly. At first glance, you're like, oh my gosh, her face is coming off. But it's not. It's the dog's tongue. Let's look at this one here. Does that look like the cat in the shadow? Nah, kind of, but you see the eyes give it away. At first glance, you're thinking, wow, that's one cat with a shadow. But when you can see the eyes and the other cat, you're like, oh, that's actually two cats. Let me show you another one. Does that look like that human has like a dog head? How is that true? What is he talking? No, if you just look a little bit closer, you can see that he's burying his head behind the dog's head, and it's not a human with a dog head. Let's go. I think I got one more. Okay, now it might look like this guy is sitting there with like 3 legs at first. What in the world is going on there? But it's just kind of a clever little photo where his legs are hanging off the side of the cliff, and that's actually like a tree there. So When you look at these pictures, you might think of one thing, but then when you get the truth, and you look a little bit closer where you can understand really what's going on, then you can reduce your subjectivity or reduce the way that you see the world, and then you can see what the truth really is. So Jesus said to the Jews who had believed in him, if you continue in my word, you really are my disciples. Or someone would say, if you abide in my word, if you listen to my teachings, if you hold to my word. Okay, this word abide means staying close to Jesus. It might say, hold on to him. This is the same word that Jesus used earlier in the book of John where he said, I am the vine, you are the branches. If anybody abides in me and I in him, you will bear much fruit. If you are staying close with him, if you stay really, really close to Jesus, if you know him more, then you will understand truth more and more and more. Some of them, as they placed their faith in Jesus, they still had questions because he talked about being free. He said, if you put your faith in me, then, or if you search the truth, then you'll be free indeed. You won't be a slave anymore. And they're like, wait a minute. We're sons of Abraham, but we were never actually enslaved to the Egyptians. How can we be free? This was after the verse that said that they put their faith in him, that they believed in him. So if you believe in Jesus, it is okay to have questions. Because like I said before, I believe that as we have questions and we search for truth, truth will always lead you to God. Searching it out, God will always reveal himself to you. And you will always find the Lord when you're searching for truth. And he says the truth will set you free. You won't be bound up by the ideas of this world.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or ideas, just drop a comment down below. Or if you'd like to talk with somebody about your faith journey, we would love to get in touch with you. Join us next week as we look at some significant evidence for the biblical account of creation. See you then.